all the magical things that happen.
And welcome everybody to Fandom Zone News. Tonight, we'll be joined here shortly by Dad Zod, Admiral Zod, whoever you want to call him. My dad, Big Lee, will be coming on the program, and we will be talking about a serious issue that actually happened around our area, Mr. PB. Apparently, this is a big thing. I didn't know about this until my dad did a video, and I'll be giving you or have him give his YouTube link there, but he did a couple of videos on this subject. So it's going to be a really interesting night. Do you know where Kenosha is, Mr. Pop Culture PB?
Yes, I know where Kenosha is, Guy. It's between Milwaukee and Chicago, real damn close to the Wisconsin-Illinois border.
Exactly. And before we get started, let's welcome some people. We had Wookiee Supremacy here since the beginning. Welcome, Wookiee. I thought you
What's
went
up,
to
Wookie?
Kashyyyk for a bit, chill with your homies over there, see how Yoda is doing. It's kind of funny on a sidebar before we get started with the main topic. I actually was rewatching Revenge of the Sith. Good times. You know,
Oh,
uh
okay.
prequel
I
are way
thought you
better
were
now.
welcoming everybody. You only said welcome to one person other than
I'm
me.
getting to it. I get sidetracked. Anyway, welcome Wookiee Supremacy. Welcome Lemon Pie. Welcome Stone Cold Jeremy. And that's the bottom line. And anybody else who might
Hell
be
yeah.
lurking. Tonight we're going to talk about a certain situation. It's only one topic. It's one that I had just been finding out about, and it's Kyle Rittenhouse. Do you know much about this story?
No, I guess I don't know everything about his story. All I know are the basic details about he was reaching back into the vehicle and he had already gotten tased and the taser did absolutely nothing. So they shot him in the back because they didn't know what weapon he was pulling out of his vehicle.
Well, okay, we might be thinking of separate stories. Actually, Kyle Ritten
Oh, we're
was,
thinking of separate stories? That ain't what happened
yeah,
in Kenosha?
no, this is a totally different story that I didn't even know about. Apparently, this person was attacked by people from Black Lives Matters, white people, four of them. One of these people in this picture, as a matter of fact, he was a gentleman who beat this gentleman, Mr. Kyle Ritten, with a skateboard. And Kyle had come to this place. He had come with a weapon. He had a gun. He'd been jumped and he shot. Yeah, Wookie said no, wrong story. Um, he had been yeah, that's Jacob Blake. Yeah, there's two simultaneous stories, ironically, all in Kenosha. But yeah, let me see. My dad will be on to elaborate more on the story, but he had been attacked and had shot a couple of his attackers, and they tried to charge him with a murder charge for defending himself.
Okay.
So that's pretty much the gist of the story. But the thing that is unique about this is a lot of people are behind this Kyle, and now it has really uh, gotten big news coverage. The Times just covered this story. A couple of other people have been covering this story, and they're actually calling Kyle a hero. A lot of the police are behind him, and this is going to be an interesting case because the people who want to bring Kyle up on charges, we all know, we talked last week about the BLM. Those people want to prosecute him try to get a murder charge. They're trying to drop it to a misdemeanor gun charge. Wookie in the comments, who's following, salute to you, sir, says he capped two of them, winged the third. Yeah, he shot the dude's elbow off. It was
Oh man,
pretty
you gotta work
gnarly.
on your aim. Well, I guess not
Well,
anymore.
no, he got two of them. The third guy he winged, and it was a hell of a wing. Like he
That's what
took
I'm
the dude's
saying.
elbow
John
off.
Wayne would have got all three with 2 bullets.
Well, we're talking about the Duke on that one though. But yeah, and remember last week we were talking about, and it's ironic that I would come across this story, or my dad was stumble across this story, because last week all three of us were talking about how we predicted there was going to be something that was going to happen with these people coming in these buses and stuff like this. These people that attacked him had came on those Black Lives Matter buses rolling through these towns starting crap, and Kyle wasn't putting up with that shit. Uh, as Wookie said, a lot of people feel the same way he said. Wookie Supremacy said that he should get a medal. Yes, a lot of people are feeling, pretty good about that. He was defending his area, his hometown. They're trying to say that this is a self-defense, which it was, because one of the assailants beat Kyle with a skateboard. So, I mean, or was hitting him with a skateboard. So, I mean, this is a pretty crazy
You're not supposed
story.
to beat people with toys. Come on now.
Oh man. And you know, it's
It's like
really
saying I ran over somebody with my Tonka truck.
yeah, yeah, that is definitely an interesting way to put it. And let's see if we got Mr. Lee back on here. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, in Kenosha, there has been uh several different things going on here, but this is a pretty unique kind of
Well, I
situation.
mean,
So,
now it's only one thing going on. The city's on fire.
yeah. And welcome to the program. How are you? Frozen with anticipation.
Can he hear us? Because I don't.
Quite
He ain't
possible.
frozen. Wave to him because he can see my thing moving, but be like, hey, we can't make the subtitles work to get him to respond. And he's just looking at us like, hey, ask me a question. We did.
Yeah, I know. There's been some technical difficulties, but yeah. So this is very interesting because not only were these guys attacking Kyle, but uh, also there is some other facets to the story. Um, there is the background of these people who had criminal records. And keep in mind, these are people I'm really starting to believe, based on their records that they had, these people have got to be being paid to protest, because some of the stuff that's being dug up now, like holy cow, like a couple of them had some very interesting backgrounds to them. So, and how are you doing?
Well, we're having a lot of electrical storms here in Texas, so I couldn't get in on my regular computer.
So, do you want to give a
Aha.
kind of do you want to give a little background on the story?
Okay, is everything good there? Are you guys echoing or anything?
Yeah, a wee bit, but that's fine. I'm just gonna turn off my mic when you talk. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, okay. So basically, as you guys know, this all started 3 days ago with this 17-year-old kid, Rittenhouse. He decided that he was going to go up and try to help out during the, they say protests, but pretty much they turned out to be riots. And so what he decided to do is he went there during the day. He went with a group of people that were basically called themselves a militia, but it wasn't to go and start trouble. They wanted to work together. And what they did is there's lots of pictures of them cleaning up all the mess that was the spray paints on the wall in Kenosha and everything. And so at that time, he went there, and then they all split up. And this is where I think they made the mistake. When they split up, it basically left them one, they all had weapons. He had a long rifle with, I believe, a 30 shot cartridge. And so he went, and he went to a car lot that he was protecting. And then all of a sudden, someone started chasing him, and then you could see a shot fired separately. Someone was shooting at him with a pistol, and you could see someone holding the gun up in the air and shooting it. So at this point, he was very well trained, and they basically tell you, when you're trained, don't start shooting at people if you feel like you can escape the situation. So basically what he did is he tried to escape the situation by running. And there was the first gentleman that was chasing him. And well, please forgive me for calling these guys gentlemen, because they're not gentlemen. They're pretty bad people. Well, the first person that started chasing him, he chased him, and when he was chasing him, he got him all the way over to the front of a gas station, and they went around to the corner, and all of a sudden you heard a bunch of little shots, and then all of a sudden you heard the rifle shots, several rifle shots. So as it turned out, he shot this guy several times. One shot was in the head, but the headshot's not the one that killed him, because the coroner said the headshot was basically a graze. The shot that killed him was something that hit his chest and lungs. And basically at that point, he didn't suffer, because you could see a video of him dying, and he didn't even know where he was, and his eyes just kind of blanked out. There's so many videos on this shooting. And so at that point, he got a 911, and he made a call. He was trying to call the police. But as he was doing this, a group of people yelled, "There he is," and they started chasing him. And they chased him into the middle of the road. Now remember, this is all on video. You can find these videos anywhere online. They're all over the place. And so when he went out into the road, there was a kid with a skateboard, and not a kid, these guys were in the 30s, with a skateboard. And what he did is he hit him on the head with the skateboard, back of the neck, and you could see it. So, and then another guy came up and was pointing a gun at him. It was a pistol. And so he's surrounded. But what he smartly did is he took the gun and he pretty much secured it to his body, because you could see them pulling at the gun, trying to get it off his body, and they could not. The kid, he was a young kid, but he was quite strong. You could tell he was quite strong, and he was fighting for his life. So at that point, he pointed the gun upwards and shot the guy with the skateboard in the stomach. He went to the ground. He died pretty quick. And then the guy that was pointing the gun at him hesitated. You could see him hesitating in the film. And as he hesitated, the young kid did not hesitate. And he blew this guy's elbow right off. You could actually see in the pictures where the elbow is gone. And so he could not use it. He was holding the gun, but his hand was pretty much useless. What do you want to, you have any questions to ask me on that one, Lee? Because there's a lot more to talk about.
So my big thing is, was this part of the BLM protests, or were these protesters that will
Yes,
attack this young kid?
I feel kind of silly to call them BLM protesters because I didn't see one black person there. Now, let me tell you something about these people that attacked him. The first gentleman attacked him. His name was Joe Rosenbaum. He was from Texas. He left his wife and he left his fiance a couple years ago, and he came up to Wisconsin. And if you go online, you would see that at that time he just had a court hearing for bail jumping, domestic battery, domestic abuse, and disorderly conduct. All his cases are currently open. Well, I guess he's happy now because he no longer has to go to his cases. As a matter of
So
fact,
just so I got this straight, the BLM has these people with criminal records do like in these rallies, in these
oh,
protests.
that's nothing. The guy with the skateboard, his name was Anthony Huber. He had several charges. In 2018, he was charged with domestic abuse, repeated abuse, disorderly conduct, battery. 2015, he was charged for drugs and drug paraphernalia. In 2012, he was charged with 3 felonies and 3 misdemeanors. One was carrying a dangerous weapon, domestic abuse, strangulation, and suffocation.
Wow.
That was his charge. And then the third gentleman that he shot and that took the elbow off, he had all sorts of charges. His charges were more minor than these 2 guys, but all 3 of them had charges on them. And the first 2 had really serious charges. The skateboarder. So pretty much the skateboarder was, he was in court several times for battery, and he strangled somebody, and he woke them up after they came back. So think about that. He's on top of this shooter. He's on top of the kid, Rittenhouse, and Rittenhouse shot him. I think that what he did was right because the guy on top of him had so many assault charges. It's obvious that he was going to go beyond that. He probably would have beaten Rittenhouse to death. And so,
let me just ask, with Rittenhouse, does he have any criminal charges? Anything that like assault and battery, theft, anything like that?
Good kid. Well, it's funny. I'm watching Fox News and they're talking about him today, and they're talking about him like they're not even talking about all this stuff. But the New York Times came out with a great article, and the New York Times is very liberal and would not usually come out with a good article, but they did a timeline of the whole shooting. And they said, and the New York Times concluded that it was pure self-defense. Today, the kid showed up in court, and his lawyer said that he was going to step down because one of the best attorneys for murder cases wants to take his case. So this gentleman said that it's, everything proves that this kid is totally innocent because the only thing he's going to be charged with illegally, he was carrying a gun at the age of 17. He's not supposed, he wasn't supposed to be carrying it. And this is where the cops screwed up, because when he's running around there with that gun, he's 17 years old. The cops never asked him about the gun, never ID'd him. He's there helping the cops. And the cops, they've been under so much pressure for a couple days with these people attacking them and doing so many vicious things that they were very happy to have him give a hand along with the guys that came from Antioch to help out.
That's really interesting. So this Rittenhouse kid, he doesn't have a criminal record.
Good kid.
He's 17 years old, and he was attacked by these 30-year-olds.
The 36. One was 36. Huber was 26, and Greg Gross-Krotz was 26. So it was 3-on-1. It was basically 3 grown men against a 17-year-old teenager. That's what it comes down to. And all these men have violent past and violent records that were attacking him. All 3 of them. There's no doubt. You know, you can go on CCAP, put their name in there, look at all their pretty charges.
This is really interesting because this forces the media to acknowledge that this Black Lives Movement's protests are not just peaceful, but actually violent, criminal people who are going out there and protesting.
They're not protesting. I hate that word. They don't deserve that word. They're going out there rioting. They're going out there looking to hurt people. These guys are pure violent criminals. That's all they are. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some innocent people. There's some good people that go at these protests, and they think they're helping people, but they don't realize when they get to these protests, there's a lot of these very bad people involved here. And after Kyle Rittenhouse shot these guys, he kind of walked up the road with holding one arm up in the air and holding his rifle. And there was like an armored car with several police officers coming down, and they let him pass. He went home, and they wound up arresting him. That's why he's in Illinois right now, because he went home to Antioch. He slept that night, and they came and got him in the morning. And you know what gets me? He's still in jail. And the only reason he's in jail, one, he lives in Illinois, which is a horribly liberal state. And they're not going to let him out. You know, there's a lot of pressure now not to let him out. But no jury is going to convict this kid. You know, all you need is one person on a jury. And any good lawyer knows this. You know, you're not going to get a lawyer, you know, you're not going to get 12 people to say this kid's guilty. I don't care what kind of people you put up there. Because there's no evidence of him ever doing anything violent. He never went after nobody. He was helping people. He was going up to crowds asking them if they needed medical help. He went up to a couple people and handed them bottles of water. He was a really good kid, but the problem with this whole thing is grown men are not going out and taking care of these punks. These kids are. A 17-year-old kid and his friends, several friends. You know, maybe we should have some 36-year-old, not we, forgive the we part, but maybe there should be plenty of 36-year-old men out there stopping these guys, you know, because they are violent criminals. We're beyond, somebody's going to get hurt really, really bad. Well, let me rephrase that. The other night, someone did get hurt. Luckily, the people that hurt him, that got hurt, were very bad people, and they probably were going to hurt somebody else in the future.
And here's the thing. Thank you, Swing Trading. He says the thumbnail is epic. I appreciate it. But yeah, here's the thing. We've predicted here on the channel that something like this was going to happen. And
Last week
it's going to just get worse.
Last week we predicted. Well, you know, anybody with common sense can predict this because it's going to happen. And this is nothing. I mean, this is like because right now, I'll give you an example. After Trump did his once he did his acceptance speech the other day, Rand Paul left in Washington, and a mob was yelling, "Get him!" And the cops had to stop a U.S. senator from being attacked by protesters. These protesters, they're not protesters. These people are violent criminals. And what they're doing now is they're going violently after people. If you look and watch any of these protests across the country, and they say, oh, there's a few of these people. No, what these protests are doing is they're attracting the dregs of society, the really bad people. If you go to any of these protests, You very rarely do you see these people any longer. They're just protesting. You hear them cursing, swearing. And then the media, they're so blind, they're trying to say, oh, it happens on both sides. Wrong. It doesn't happen on both sides. You never heard about the Tea Party when they were protesting, surrounding people and beating them up?
Yeah, that is a good point. Let me just get to someone who's s- said something right now. Thank you. Don't worry, Dad. If you're wondering, I muted your mic, so just so we didn't have the echo. Um, so here's the thing that I want to say, people. There were some good points. Curtis said that he was too young to be defending himself. I think that's the point that we're trying to make, is that none of the adults are stepping up. This kid was just doing what he was paid to do. He was defending his community. Wookiees supremacy have been shooting some comments back. I agree with that. A lot of people seem to be on this kid's side. So here's another question. Um, what else to this story? Like, what else should we know about what's going on? Are there any other things that might be happening as far as the community goes? Is this going to get worse?
Yes, of course it's going to get worse. Every week it seems like it gets worse. What's going to happen? Right now you have a lot of innocent people that have been beaten very badly and hurt almost to down in Dallas. They had a store owner that was beaten. In St. Louis, they had a gentleman who was he was a police officer for 30 years, and he was killed guarding a bill. Yes, there have been so many people killed so far, and it hasn't been the protesters that have been killed. It has
Why
been.
is no one reporting these deaths? Because I have a feeling there's a lot more of these stories.
They are. Well, what's happening is, and I'm going to say Fox News is reporting them, but don't get me wrong. Fox News is almost as bad as the other stations. They're all covering up. They're all responsible. They're all, they're so afraid of being called something, that something's wrong, that they're doing something wrong. If they say the truth, they don't want to say the truth. And, what do they think is going to happen and I personally believe Trump's going to win? What's going to happen the day after he wins? It's going to, all hell's going to break loose unless they have to do something now. What happens is Trump should just say to hell with this, send in stormtroopers or whatever you're going to do. Send some guys in there with boots to step on some throats, and they got to really, people have to understand if they come to these protests and they're going to hurt somebody or be violent, they're going to go to jail. I'll give you an example how this works. Remember when they were tearing down all the statues and it's
Yes, I
not
do.
happening no more? The reason it's not happening no more is because Trump passed an executive order that says if you are involved with pulling down a federal statue, you automatically get 10 years. No ifs, ands, or buts. You get 10 years. And as soon as he passed that law, they stopped pulling down statues. And then they arrest a couple people and they're still in jail and they made an example of them. What they have to also do is these mayors and governors that are protecting these people, they have to start arresting them. The mayors should be arrested. The police chiefs have the right to arrest the mayors if they're say if the mayors are inciting riots, like in Portland and in Seattle, they are inciting riots. They should be arrested. The police chief should just walk in there and arrest them. People say, "Oh, that's crazy. The police chief works for the mayor." But if the mayor's not doing his job, and if the mayor's inciting riots, like that clown in New York, De Blasio, he's the worst. I mean, these mayors are literally letting these protesters / rioters destroy these cities on purpose. And then
And
and you're going to
and
have
here's
your
the thing. Um, Here's the thing. This has been going on for long enough. I mean, these people just need to be stopped from even doing this. They're not even protesting anymore. This proves it. They're causing mayhem and destruction.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. And once again, protest is good. You know, if you're going to have but if you get on a bridge and you shut down traffic, you're no longer a protester. You're committing a crime. If you want to have a protest by law, you basically have to go get a permit and then have your protest. You know, the police, the military, whatever, they all have the right to move in on these protesters once they start breaking laws. And if they show up to protest without permits, they're breaking the law right there. So across the country right now, with all these happening in these cities, the law actually has the right. And then what you have, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I watched a cop in Seattle get hit in the head with a tire, a part of a tire, and knocked out. And the people were laughing as he was laying on the ground. It was horrible to see that people are so barbaric.
So here's my thing. With this Kyle situation, there's a lot of different things going on, but let me just ask, do you think that this thing with Kyle and them wanting to first go with the murder charges, do you think this is it going to be politically motivated?
I don't know, and here's the reason I don't know. Because one thing a district attorney doesn't want to do is lose a case, and this case is a loser case. This, you know, any any district attorney, any prosecutor that takes this case, they're going to know that they can't win this case. Federally, it's not going to be touched because they know they can't win this case. You know, once they show, you know, when the New York Times comes out and says that someone's innocent and this someone's, you know, unfortunately for this kid, you know, what they're doing is they're calling him a radical. He was seen at a Trump rally. I guess, you know, I went to a Trump rally. I don't consider myself a radical. I know lots of people, you know, they're not radicals. It's just a word that's being made up. And so they're saying, oh, this guy's a radical white racist. There's no evidence that this kid ever did anything racist in his life.
All 17 years of it.
Yes, 17 years of it. You know, the problem with this kid is he dropped out of school. He made some mistakes in his life, but he still has no crime. And I'll tell you what, he's a hell of, you know, and this is another thing. Guys like Kyle Rittenhouse know how to handle weapons. He handled that weapon very professionally. He knew where to strap it. He knew how to hold it. He knew how to shoot it. So, you know, if you get a group of 20 of these Kyle Rittenhouse in the street fighting, someone's in trouble. I mean,
All right, I'm just going to read this comment really quick. It comes to us from my man, Mr. Curtis KYZ, and he says, it's crazy dumb. I can't believe the stupidity of people attacking him. It's sad. It's a human being, but GD, F around and find out. I definitely agree. You're going to see a lot of this, people coming out and attacking him because these people don't want to admit, that this Black Lives Matters movement is full of racist white people.
Yeah.
There are racist white people in this movement.
Yeah, they're control. You know, here's the shame part, and a lot of blacks realize it. They can't even have an organization. You know, when blacks cry racism, listen, they're right when it comes to BLM. They had this organization that they no longer have. It's ran by white people. It's 90% of BLM is white. I mean, they literally don't have a group. This ain't their group. You know, the only thing it is, it's a money making machine for the Democrats. It's all the money that being collected is going into Act Blue, and all that money is automatically funding all the Democratic candidates. This group was created by well, basically it was created by three women, but that were African American. But what happened is white liberals stepped in, taken over the group, and now they're using it to make money and pass it up. And they're using it for Congress races, Senate races. They're using it for everything. I haven't heard from PB yet. What does he think about this?
I don't know a whole lot about the story, but from listening to all of it, it sounds like you shouldn't. I agree with Wookiee supremacy. You shouldn't fuck around because you never know. And if you just leave that guy alone, nothing bad would have happened to you. You wouldn't have got shot in the gut. You wouldn't have got shot in the arm. This whole thing would have been avoided. So I believe that all of the negativity should be put on the people that got shot, not the person who's trying to defend himself because he has no idea what's happening to him.
To die that night. If he did not kill these guys, he was going to die. After reading what these guys' criminal records were, and these guys were women beaters. They beat women. They were punks. They were brutal. For another human to take a skateboard and smash someone in the head with it, it shows that they are barbaric. And the most amazing thing, not only are they barbaric, they're stupid. You see someone with a long rifle. See, here's where they made a mistake. They seen this kid with the long rifle. They looked at him. He looked kind of nerdy. And they said, okay, we're going to get that rifle away from them. But they didn't realize that Kyle very smartly took that gun and he tied it down to his body. So they couldn't get it off his body. And Kyle is also 17 years old. He's probably drug free, I'm guessing. Maybe not, but these other guys, they have drug charges, they got drunk charges. So, they're partiers. And so here they are messing and rolling around on the ground with a kid. But, the most amazing thing is there was one, you can see that one picture where the one guy's holding a gun pointed right at him. And the only reason he didn't shoot the gun, because he did not have the guts that Kyle had. Kyle had the guts to use his gun. Kyle understood, if you pull your gun, you better use it. And that's what Kyle understood. And he did use it. Kyle, no matter what they say, if you look at all the people sticking up for Kyle, it's millions. Millions. Do you know what happened? Do you know that they put up a GoFundMe page? They got GoFundMe pages up. You remember the black guy that shot the little white kid in the stroller down south? He has a GoFundMe page up, and he's collected a lot of money.
That's nice.
But so they put a GoFundMe page up for Kyle, and guess what GoFundMe did? They shut it down. So Kyle,
wow.
So Kyle, here's Kyle, a kid that really anybody knows this was self-defense if you look at it, but yet GoFundMe just still found the best thing to do is let's shut his page down. So here we go with one of the liberal companies from that's defending murderers. They're kind of hypocritic because these guys that were killed were beating the daylights out of the women they were with. They literally were beaten. Like I said, the guy with the skateboard, he strangled his woman and almost killed her. I mean, literally strangled her, suffocated her, and she had to come back. That's how bad this guy was.
Strange erotic fantasy.
She filed charges on him and everything. It wasn't. It was. He did it to be brutal. He didn't do it for
Oh,
pleasure. He did it to be brutal. And if anybody wants to have fun and pull up CCAP and put these guys' names into it, Wisconsin has it right there. The charges are right there. And this guy the first guy who shot Rosenbaum, he was from Texas. I'm going to check his record down in Texas. I didn't see any. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's something in Texas because he lived down here in Texas, and all of a sudden he dipped out of Texas, and he wound up there in Kenosha. But he just abandoned his wife, his girlfriend here, and he abandoned his child here.
oh, a real winner.
Oh, this guy's old. Yeah, and he was out, and they got him on video going like he was yelling a couple hours before he got killed. He was yelling at these very same guys, "Come on, motherfuckers, shoot me, shoot me." Well, guess what? His fantasy came true. They shot him. Yeah, there's a video. You could see him on video. This thing is like a movie. This was like Vincent Tarantino sat down and said, "You know what? Let me make a crazy, insane movie." You can go online and watch a damn good movie where the good guy wins.
Yeah, the whole thing crazy about this, and just so you know, I'm muting the mic in between so that when we talk, hopefully we don't have that echo. We're working on the technical aspects here. But anyways, the whole thing about this is that you know, it's really easy for people to sit here and demonize this Kyle kid, but no one is bringing out these other facts, and the media now has to acknowledge that these other people had these records. Look, here's the thing, uh, you know, I understood what you were saying, Curtis, in the chats about him being so young and putting his life at risk. But maybe we need more people that aren't 17 stepping up and, going out there and saying stuff to these people, because this is why we have this problem. This is not going to be solved by, just the government stepping in or anything else like that. The theory about sending military in is good and all, but I was in the service, and you don't want the military to come into the towns. That will be a whole different another issue. The thing is, the civilians, the people, and the police that everybody wants to demonize in the media, the police have to put a stop to this. This has gone beyond them just doing these protests now and making it peaceful as they claim. Now these protests are becoming violent, and I don't even think these guys have the permits to do these protests. That's just my opinion. I don't know if it's fact, if they even got permits to protest.
Okay, am I on now?
Yeah.
They have no permits. There's no permits. These people are just showing up. This started off with a bunch of weird, odd. There's still a bunch of weird, odd-looking people that show up at these things. The real weirdos of society, and and then when they show up, they yell and scream and stuff. But now, what you have showing up are criminals. The guy that got shot on the with the skateboard, he was a member of a communist organization, and he was a registered communist. So here you go, and what gets me, the day after this happened, the media, there were stories that came out that these guys were sweet and fun loving, and everybody loved them. They were great guys. That's what the media wrote about these guys. I'm like, are you kidding me? How can you write that shit? All you got to do is CCAP them,
Well,
they should have been kneecapped too.
Well, here's the thing. The media, they are not going to ever write the truth, because what they do is they put a spin on everything. We've read an article last night on my late night talk show about how this TV show was a big revolution for the gay community. I mean, we're dealing with a media that is so far in denial that when they write this stuff, I read some of these articles on the late night, and you guys all know who are on my late night talks. I read some of these articles, and you just think, what world is the media living in when they write this crap? They write stuff, and it's like they know they don't want to make anyone mad. They don't want to tiptoe and get on anyone's. You know what I was talking about, PB. You remember that article? It was such a fluff piece. It was like, uh, 10 paragraphs of nonsense and about a paragraph of an actual article. It's like these journalists aren't journalists anymore. And, they all have their affiliations, they all have their politics, they all have their parties that they answer to. So no one wants to go and piss off someone on the other side so that they can get those press passes and they can get into the conventions and interview the senators and the congressmen or the big movie stars. So no one's going to sit there and write the truth. I'm actually shocked that the Times even was writing anything true anymore, because they haven't wrote something true since God knows what, 10, 15 years.
Well, they're not going to write anything true right now because, especially now, because they don't want to admit that there's violent people, extremely violent people showing up at these events. Now the media talks about women rights, like the Me Too movement and everything. And they'll defend these guys, even though these guys were those guys that brutalized women. That's who these guys were. The ones that got killed were all women abusers. And now there's a big issue because even they realize when they read, they see that a lot of people are backing these. A lot of liberals, they're backing this kid, and you can't help but see it. You go online, you go to YouTube, and I'm shocked that YouTube hasn't stopped it. YouTube's like, I think YouTube doesn't want to stop it because it's getting so many hits. One guy did a total, used the stuff today, and within 8 hours, he had 750,000 hits just by playing all the videos of the shootout. And he did it from the very he did it from the very beginning to the very end. He created the timeline. And so that's what the Times did too. They created the timeline. And the one thing the Times story did is it showed the guy shooting. There was a pistol pulled that was shooting at him. And the funny thing about that is when I did a video on this originally when it happened, and everything I said on the video actually happened. First, I said that it was totally self-defense. And everything I described on the video, the Times came out the following day and basically said everything I said, right down to a T. And I'm not saying the Times are reading what I'm saying. What the Times actually did is they looked and watched at what I watched, and they seen it. They knew they could not lie about this. So they said, "Oh, let's break a story." And I was watching a movie yesterday about Richard Jewell. And you were talking to me about, why the media is like this. Well, with Richard Jewell, they accused him. He saved a lot of lives when a bomb went off during the Olympics in Atlanta. The next day, a reporter came out after sleeping with an FBI agent and got information that they were investigating Richard Jewell. And then for the next 3 months, everybody in America thought that Richard Jewell did the bombing. And it turned out that Richard Jewell was innocent. And they destroyed this man's life, and he wound up having a heart attack at the age of 44. Basically died of a broken heart because he wanted to be in law enforcement and stuff, and they just destroyed his life. And this was the media. And they sued, Richard Jewell sued CNN. CNN was always involved. The kid that got caught, the Richard Sandman kid that recently with the hat that got they made all these stories up about him. He was a school kid. He sued him. He won. What's happening is people are suing these like CNN especially, and despite CNN that they keep losing these lawsuits, They just keep on reporting the lies. They don't stop. They're just like, they'll talk about everybody, but they're just like this big evil company that makes up stories that are total lies. And they don't care whose lives they destroy. They have, you know, when we, 2 days ago, two senators were, one senator and his wife were literally attacked by protesters in Washington coming out of the Trump speech. And they were there making up reasons why it was okay for these guys to attack Rand Paul. I mean, this is how twisted you have these people saying it's okay. And instead of calling them rioters, they're calling them protesters. And the funny thing too is when these like when CNN shows up at these rallies and stuff, well, not rallies, I'm sorry, let me call them the protests. Half the time they wind up getting attacked, things thrown at them, and they're still defending these people. So they're just going to wait. There's going to be something that happens where 10, 15, 20 people die. That's, that's what's going to happen.
And here's the thing. It is going to come to a point that there's going to be a mass shooting. That's what we're building up to, folks. Make no mistake. But look, the whole point of this here tonight is I'm not going to, and here on the panel, we're not going to take one side or the other. Look, this is the information that's being presented. You can choose to believe what you want to believe, but if you go to my late nights, if you listen to the channel, if you listen to anybody else's channel who covers the media lately, especially the hypocrisy of Hollywood itself, you don't have to look too far to see the lies that are already being spun, okay? So let's just recap this for a second. We have 1A, you have these people who scream about equality for women, but yet you have these people who came who they were glorifying in the beginning and they beat their women. They were low-life scumbags, all right? And then you have the Me Too movement that's supposedly this beacon of bastion and freaking hope that's going to teach us, the normal people, not the Hollywood elites, not these rich asses who are getting off on this crazy crap. No, the Hollywood elites are going to tell me how to live my life. And that's why we're at where we are at. So you have the Hollywood elites and you have the press who are in their pocket sitting here spinning a bunch of lies. And us three who are just sitting here reporting to you facts. These are not twisted, spin, manipulated garbage. Okay, you guys can go after this stream. Go ahead and look it up for yourself. CCAP these people. Look up the information. You don't got to take my word for it. You don't got to take Big Lee's word for it. You don't got to take political PB's word for it. You just go and search it out yourself. This is the nonsense, and this is also part of the problem is people are taking the media at their word. And I don't mean the older people. I mean these young kids sit here and listen to the people on the news and their favorite Hollywood celebrity talk about a bunch of nonsense, and they think that that's the truth. And here I'm just giving you guys facts. This is what went down. This is how it happened. Now, the specifics, there might be other things into it. We don't know. I wasn't there. No one here on the panel was there. But the fact of the matter is, you're going to hear within weeks, they're going to spin and twist and manipulate the story to their ends. PB, I mean, am I wrong about any of this?
No, you haven't been wrong about any of that. I just read Bianca Fights the Zombies' most recent comment that said, ask yourself, are you more or less racist than this time last year?
And the question is, the media would have us think we're the wrong ones here. They would have us think that us three here, who are, privileged white males, right? They're going to have us think that we're the jerks. We're the ones endorsing this, right? We're the xenophobes. We're the racists. We're the Nazis because we agree with some of the things that Trump does, or we support this person, or we support that person, or we think Kyle had every right to defend himself. But here's the truth. Who's crazier? Who's crazier? Who's crazier? A 17-year-old kid defending himself against a bunch of 35, 36-year-old males attacking a kid? A kid, people. Granted, a teenager, if you want to be technical, but he's still a kid who's trying to do the right thing, and you have adults attacking him, and he was defending himself and his community. And the media, another bunch of grown douchebags, are sitting back and saying and attacking in the first weeks this kid defending himself. And people like Richard Jewell and all of the other people done wrong are made to look like monsters. And then when the truth comes out, what do we get? Anyone answer? What do we get? We get people who come out and from CNN and MSNBC and all of the other political rags and hack magazines come out and they say, oh, we're sorry, our bad. We destroyed your life. We just killed your career. But I'm sorry about that. Excuse our bad. We retract our statement, and they're going to write a little paragraph, an apology, and then that's it. Life goes on. We move on. Well, enough is enough. We need to tell these people enough is enough. All of the nonsense, all of the spinning, all of the BS that these people put on every single day, enough is enough. We need to stop reading these articles. We need to stop listening to these jerks and these idiots who got these talk shows and tell us half-ass truth. That's what needs to happen.
You stop reading articles, you're going to lose your audience.
Yeah, well, you know what? You're absolutely right, and I'm glad you think that way, and I wish that more people thought that way. But, you know, it's like there was an old movie called, and this is where you guys know I'm older than you. It was called Newscast with, it was many years ago, and he said, I've had enough, I'm fed up, and he just started screaming on the air, and everybody started yelling it out their window. And, you know, we're at that point, you know, what's going to happen? I mean, are we going to continue to let this insanity happen? But, you know, we left the politicians out of this because the politicians are as bad, probably worse. You know, Nancy Pelosi is 80 years old, and here she is, and she's defending people that are very bad people, and she's 80. She's 80 years old. Think about that. You have people 80 years old, 75 years old that just don't want to stop. They just want to be politicians until the day they die. And they're out there and they're saying these horrible things. So right now, us, the Americans, the citizens, we're being smacked around. We're being abused. We all are, of all colors. There's not no one group that's being abused more than the next. You know, I'm sorry. LeBron James, I don't feel sorry for you because you made it in life. You made it big time. You're going to be a billionaire someday, and you made that money in America. So shut the fuck up already. And, you know, but when we get that, you know, and then you got me, like, I'm watching these guys that get paid millions and millions of dollars to throw baseballs around. What would these guys be doing without sports? What would LeBron James be doing without sports? What would baseball players be doing without baseballs? What would hockey players be doing without pucks and sticks? All these athletes that are like playing along with everything, they have to realize they're lucky to be Americans. What the hell would they be doing if they weren't athletes? Can we only imagine? You know what? Half of them would be like, wow, he's the best basketball player in prison. You know, it's like that movie with Sandler where he's in jail. The remake of that movie. You remember that movie?
Oh, The Longest Yard.
Yeah, what's that, BB?
The Longest Yard.
Yeah, Longest Yard, the remake where Sandler's there and he was a football player, and then he went to jail and became the big star. You know, that's it. That's these athletes. These athletes think that like they're special. But they don't realize these athletes know nothing. Once they make all this money, they don't have to worry. Like LeBron James, like walked off the court, and then all of a sudden he said that he wasn't going to play the playoffs anymore. Remember, he did that a couple days ago. And the only reason he said that is because all of a sudden he doesn't think that his team's good enough to win the title. He's a coward. That's the only reason LeBron James is doing this. He does not think that they can win. They cannot beat Milwaukee. They can't beat Boston. He's thinking that to himself, and he's saying to himself, "Oh my God, we put this all-star team together here. I'm playing with the second best player in basketball. If we don't win, and so now he's going to use this BLM thing and all these guys running around their t-shirt. They don't know nothing about the black community anymore. They don't know nothing about being poor anymore because they got millions and millions of dollars in the bank. Sure, maybe they were poor at one time, but they're not poor no more. And you know what? If a cop's going to pull me over and if he's going to stop me and stuff, but if I have about $10 million in the bank, okay, stop me. I don't care. Stop me.
Yeah, here's the thing too. The thing that cracks me up about all these celebrities and all these football players and basketball players and baseball players is that the leagues that are pandering to these people and allowing them to say these statements and bad mouthing all of these people is exactly right. They are so out of touch. This is in general Hollywood, the media, the politicians, okay? And we could even go with the Republicans too. Not so much, but that's a Democrat thing. But the Republicans, the Democrats, or I'm sorry, the liberals, because it's not the Democratic Party anymore. All of these people are so out of touch with the pulse of what people are feeling. It is astronomically mind-boggling because they have no clue how average Joes, everyday normal people feel. You have these idiot, stupid Hollywood elitists who, during the height of the pandemic, come out with an Imagine video about imagine we're suffering with you. We're with you in our $1 million home with our 50-inch flat screen TV playing goddamn Animal Crossing in widescreen with our surround sound. But don't worry. When I'm in my $1,000 bathroom, I'm with you. I'm suffering too. This is so terrible. Oh, Black
All of
Lives
your
Matter.
numbers were way too small just now. Every single fucking
Yeah,
one. But continue.
I know. I was low budging it. I don't have that much. I don't have that much money.
Well, you're talking about the rich people in Kenosha.
Yeah, Lee said $1,000 bathroom. He must. What do they got? Like outhouses or something in their backyard? $1,000 bathrooms? I mean, their sink, their little faucet on their sink is $1,000. $1,000. You sound like the guy that want $1 million. You sound like him. Everything you said makes sense except the $1,000 bathroom. Because I wouldn't want to shit in a $1,000 bathroom.
No, but my whole point is that the media and these Hollywood elitists are so out of touch, right? And you got LeBron James who's going to come out with something. You got Nike and Gillette making these equality commercials and diversity plays. You have people who are writing scripts and stories and movies about how oppressed everyone is, how there's rampant sexism. Hollywood, media, wake up. Look at your own wheelhouse. You want to talk about how bad everyone is? You want to talk about how the situation is bad? Let's talk about the Harvey Weinsteins in the world. Where did that come from? That came from your end. All of you rich people, the accusations, they all came from you. And now you're getting caught in your nonsense and you want to turn it around on the average Joe and say, we're the ones who need an education. We're the ones who need to take a step back. We're racist, and we're the ones who don't understand the plight and the struggle of women in this society, and they're underpaid, and everybody's suffering. When's the last time you took a walk down the street? Maybe if you got caught in one of these ridiculous rallies, or I'm sorry, riots now, then you would see exactly how bad this situation is. Because when you're stuck in that situation, I bet you it'll be a different story. The first time a senator on the other side is hit with a rock, or the first time this goes to the House of the Senate and these people are ducking and dodging for cover, then I bet you it's going to be a different story. They're going to be talking, oh my God, maybe these rallies are a little bit out of control. We need to send some people in. And yeah, we need to put a stop to this. That's when you're going to hear something, and I hate to say it, when something really bad goes down and about 10 people get shot, and you got a child hit or some parents or an innocent bystander, that's when these people are going to stop pandering and sticking their head in the stand, and you're going to actually see them giving a shit about the normal person. That's when it's going to happen, folks, and it's ridiculous. Sorry, I get a little bit upset. I was having flashbacks.
Okay, no more. That's it. We're done. Time to go home. Time to go to bed. I'm going to go home and I'm going to see if I can watch LeBron and see if they're losing to Portland. What do you think? Yeah, they're losing to Portland. The team with one good player on it. LeBron's like, man, I got to get the hell out of this. I promised everybody that if you give me the best player, I was going to win the championship this year. Now that I'm not going to win it, wait, and then they're thinking, oh wait, the best guy in basketball is that white dude up in Dallas. What's his name? Last week,
I thought the best player was Giannis.
Well, last week the guy up in Dallas, he scores 45 points, has 20 assists in a game, and as he's walking, a black guy on the court saying, dumb bitch white boy, he's saying it loud, and everybody's talking about it the next day. All the fans are, but nobody in the media is talking about how a black player has called this white guy a bitch ass white boy. I mean, I got to give the guy credit because he apologized the following day to the player. But racism sucks, but racism comes in all colors, all people, all sizes, all sexes. We think that it's just one race. We're absolutely wrong. It's not.
Amen.
So finish this off.
All right, so I'm going to take this out. I muted your mic because we had a little bit of feedback, so I'm just going to take us out here. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us here tonight. I had a great time talking about this. You guys can go and check all of this stuff out. It's on YouTube. Go ahead and type it out. And my final words for you guys is, don't believe everything you hear. Research this stuff. You don't gotta look. We're just three people talking here. You don't have to take our word for it. You can look this stuff up. The beautiful thing about the internet, it's all accessible. It's all at your fingertips. Don't just listen to one source. Okay, that's the problem. That's the problem we have going on right now, is that people are sourcing one thing and they think it's gospel, and that's just not true. You got to go to various spaces and put the pieces together, right? You get a little bit of the truth here, you get a little bit of the truth here, and somewhere in the middle is the actual story. So don't sit here and think what I'm telling you is the truth. What anyone else is telling you, research it for yourself. That's why the media has so much power, because we put so much faith in them. Kyle here is, just a normal kid, just trying to do his best and protect his community. That's the highlight here. That's the takeaway. And we need more people doing the same exact thing. And we need you guys, and we need the audience, being aware of the situation. Go and research this stuff. And look, I'm not going to go into one side is more racist than the other, or this is all white people or all black people or whatever, however people are going to spin this bullshit. I want you guys to decide for yourself. Look, when we talk, we're not saying one side is right and one side is wrong. There is wrong people in this. There's right people in this, sure. But I'm letting you
right
guys...
and you're wrong.
Well, yeah, that's always the norm. But I'm letting you guys decide, okay? This is the point of this program. We bring you guys real news. unfiltered, the real facts. And I'm going to let you guys decide which side you want to take. You make your own damn decisions. Go in my chat. If you think I'm an a-hole, go ahead and tell me. Just be polite, okay? Don't be too crazy with it, all right? I don't block people, but if you get nuts and start saying stuff about my mom or something like that, I might have to block you, okay? So don't get too crazy with it, but voice your opinions. This is a place to talk. Let's talk about these things like you used to be able to, and let's hash it out, you can interact with other people in the chat here. Voice your opinion because the media is not going to let you do it. Hell, people on the street might not let you do it because we got a lot of idiots. Sorry to say if you're offended, but there's a lot of dumbasses in this world now. So I want you guys to have a space to talk about this stuff, not a safe space, but a place to talk, vent your opinions, voice your ideas. And, I'll put you up on the screen if you got a good point. And shout out to everyone we got watching. We got 10 people. Thank you very much. We appreciate the support. Go share this. Go on your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, every other gram. Go put us out there.
Your
Let people know.
parlor.
Tumblr, TikTok. I want to be on every platform, okay? Tell us about the program. Let us know what we could do to make this better. And, if you come across any interesting articles, go ahead, DM me, send me a message, I'll get the message. I might not respond right away, but I'll get the message and I'll bring it to the crew. And if it's an interesting topic, we will talk about it. But I'm doing this program for all of you guys out there. I really love you. Thank you. We had a couple of people join in, all out of bubblegum. Thank you for coming by. Fights is the zombies. Thank you. Sith Lord. Sith Lord was in the house. I haven't seen you here in a while. Thank you. And everybody, please make sure you're staying safe out there, okay? And that, you're being cautious. And if you see shit that's wrong, don't be someone who stands by and watches. Go out there and help each other, stay safe, and stand up for your community, okay?
Oh, God.
Not
I thought you
everyone's
were
got
going
to
to
be.
say go out there and draw your weapon.
No, don't do that. I'm not promoting that. YouTube will tear this video down. I won't have a channel. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is go out there and support your community. Be a pillar. And if you see something wrong, then, go and tell someone, take action. Just don't let this stuff keep happening, because if it does, then nothing will ever change. And as always, thank you everybody for dropping by. Come join the channel tomorrow. Me and Stevie J will be doing a review on our favorite epic, Braveheart. We're going to break it down for you. And, freedom. Anyways, you all are beautiful, breathtaking people. Everybody have a good night. We will see you next Saturday for another awesome news update with some real hard-hitting facts. Until then, everybody out there, you know what to do. Click that like, click that subscribe, and I will see you all next Saturday at 10 o'clock. Good night, everybody.